Do you know who I am? My name is the sure thing Mark Sherman.
And I'm that guy, Scotty Slade, and we're Team #Friendship.
And you're listening to Marks on Commentary. Yeah.
Oh, radio, tell me everything you know. It's a shameful thing to lost your head. A careless man who could wind up dead. You wear your sin like it's some kind of prize. Too many lies, too many lies. Oh.
Yeah. What's the crack, fella? You winning?
Bro, that's exactly what's going to happen when I get enough signatures for my petition, and John Laurinaitis grants me another U.S. title match against Dolph Ziggler.
Savage, man. Well, I already signed your petition, so best of luck to you getting that U.S. title match.
Bro, after I win the U.S. title, we're broskies, right? We go to the clubs and dance with some chicks. Hey, we can even dance to a techno version of your theme song. Hey, check this out. Whoa, I'm dancing naked through the night. Whoa, I'm naked, what a sight, whoa.
They're not the lyrics to my song. And anyway, nobody wants to see me naked. I'll tell you what. How about we concentrate on kicking the collective arses of Jack Swagger and Dolph Ziggler, and hopefully shutting up that Vicky Guerrero too, huh?
Yeah.
And then, fella, then we can go out and celebrate, right?
Yeah, bro. Woo, woo, woo.
You know it.
I think this is fake.
You can't say that.
I can say that.
Wrestling's not fake.
It's still real to me, damn it.
The unscripted, uncensored, loose cannon of commentary. This ain't WCW. This ain't Monday Night Raw. This ain't SmackDown. This ain't even WWE.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
The recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
You're listening to Marks on Commentary.
You're listening to Marks on Commentary. I'm Eddie Brophy.
I'm Jason Smith.
I'm Kathryn.
Now, we don't know how long Kathryn's going to be with us and how long Jason's going to have electricity, so...
Yeah, apparently Comcast has decided that Seacoast, New Hampshire just doesn't need internet tonight.
You know, it's not doing you any favors when you refer to the company that's in charge of your internet.
Oh no, Comcast knows that I want them to die in a fire. Like, it's not a secret. Sorry, Comcast.
So if the plug gets pulled on this show prematurely, we'll know who's behind it.
Oh, man.
So I just want to address something because on the show, we do Twitter questions, as you know, at MO Commentary. And this is what I come across and I look them at. OMG at Coles has Zubaz with a picture. And at Ryan Albertson, what? I'm so effing there. At Ryan Albertson, Zubaz slumber party? Jason, did you say that your creepiest voice off?
I did.
I really hope so.
Zubaz slumber party.
I like how Brian just didn't message you back.
I
either.
know,
Like,
I was disappointed.
He was probably like, what the hell is going on now?
I love how none of these questions have any relevance to the last show we did.
Well, that's because the last show we did was crap, let's be honest.
It started well.
Yeah, the only part of it that was semi-okay got deleted when Jason lost power.
I'm telling you, Kathryn's here via tin can phone. Jason was here via candlelight, so...
Hey, do you know what? I'm just excited. Okay, so I have a bit of an announcement, which I'm going to address now so that I can address a larger issue here. I am really excited because we were able to confirm that we have another guest coming. So the first Thursday in November, the 7th, we have Firebrand Brian Fury coming. He's a local wrestler, and he's also the owner and trainer at the Pro Wrestling Academy in Massachusetts. So super excited he's going to be here. But the most important part is that he is from New Hampshire, and he can confirm to all the rest of our listeners and to Jason and Eddie that we do actually have electricity in New Hampshire, and that we don't do everything by candlelight and with a quill and parchment.
Now, Kathryn actually got this announcement via horseback. The
Pony Express.
The announcement was written several weeks ago, and it just got into Kathryn's hands.
No, I put something on Twitter the other day about who people wanted to have come on our show, and Brian Fury volunteered himself. So I don't know if he knows what he's getting himself into, but He volunteered himself. We've now booked him. And so for you guys, you saw how easy it was to get him on the show. We need your help. It's a lot better if it comes from our listeners than if it comes from us. If we just message everybody, it seems like spam. If you guys message them, it seems like we have listeners, which is a good thing.
Now,
So,
to bring up a relevant point here, it's so important that you help us get guests on this show so that Kathryn doesn't text me late Saturday night when I'm at my girlfriend's house with, hey, Gangrel and Big Daddy V are at Kowloon. We need you to go on assignment, Eddie.
I did. I texted him. I actually messaged Jason first because I know he lives closer to Kowloon's. And he was like, I'm in Maine. I was like, God damn it. It's like, Eddie, you live close to there. You need to go. And neither of them went. I'm disappointed.
Sorry. Next time.
I'm not sorry.
Gangrel promised us months ago to come on the show, and we needed someone to go harassment person.
If I had known the whole time that if I had just persuaded him with Kowloon, we could have had this bitch knocked out like 3 months ago.
He's avoiding my comments too now.
Aw.
Oh, Jason, what did you do?
Nothing. I'm just asking him, like reminding him, hey, you want to come on the fucking show? Like,
Are you reminding him or are you annoying him?
I'm not annoying him. It's not like constant stream of tweets, but every couple weeks I'll be, hey, remember us? We'd like to do the interview.
Jason wasn't really in Maine. He went to Worcester last week in a rockin' truck, and he packed several different disguises in his trunk. And showed up as different varieties of Marks on Commentary listeners, reminding Gangrel that he promised Marks on Commentary to do an interview.
Oh, man. Jason is the only one of the three of us holding on to hope that that's actually going to happen.
It's slowly dissipating. But I can give a teaser, I think. You both already know.
Jason, you know what happens when you give teaser.
Well, I'm not going to say it, because then it, like, fails and I suck at everything, so...
Well, then don't say anything at all.
But I want to give a teaser, because it's awesome.
Yeah, but if it doesn't follow through, then you're just going to feel like an ass.
No, I won't.
Officially, the show has its own undefeated streak. If getting guests on the show and them declining was the Undertaker, we would be the person trying to break the streak.
That's not true. We now have guests that have come on our show.
We have
and we have more guests booked to come on the show.
We have moist, sweaty towels because they suffered from a kind of Stockholm syndrome. And now we have someone who volunteered himself because he feels so bad for us.
Yeah, probably.
You just made me remind myself of something that's like horrible.
Oh God. Jason's traumatic childhood.
No, not even that. But you mentioned like the sweaty towels, and I just remembered like a while ago going on like High Spots, and they were selling Bloody Abdullah the Butcher like towels. And like, I guess what's the thing that he like has now? Hepatitis C or something like that.
Didn't he lose a foot or a leg?
That happened, but I think he has like a blood disease or something like that, and I just keep going back like, who the fuck bought an Abdullah the Butcher like towel?
My biggest question is, did he auction off the appendage that he no longer has?
I imagine.
Yeah. He signed his gangrene covered leg.
People are terrible.
Anyways, I'll give you a teaser, folks. I have been in contact with at least a secretary of a former high profile ish superstar. He's been, I can say this, okay. He's been in the WWE in the last 10 years, and he's a former hardcore champion.
Meanwhile, Jason got in contact with like the dude's 13-year-old intern.
She's actually a young girl, but
oh Jesus, Jason.
Oh God, Jason.
But yeah.
You know, I was a little suspicious why the state troopers were parked outside my work today. Jason, what are you doing to me?
So, you know, we noticed the difference in how we book people. I Twitter shame like attractive men into coming onto our show. Jason talks to young girls. It's whatever works, man. If it works, I'm really excited about it.
And then people wonder what Eddie does. I'll just offer you something out of my closet. Gangrel, if you come on the show, I will give you a copy of... I don't know. What do I want? I'll give you a copy of The Toxic Avenger. You come on the show.
Did you ever send that guy your half-used deodorant?
No, he never gave me his address.
Oh.
If you're listening, he will send it.
He's not kidding. He will do it.
I'll even send you a half-used bottle of Axe body wash. I don't mess around here.
He's no cheapskate.
Ridiculous. Oh god.
But
speaking of former guest, Scotty Slade is threatening to crash the Brian Fury interview. So if I were you, I'd make sure you listen the 7th.
Sounds good. But our thing probably won't happen till December. So
yeah,
when it gets closer and I can confirm, I'll let people know. But
Scotty Slade wants to crash the interviews, and Kathryn wants to crash Scotty Slade's moist sweaty towels.
Wait, what?
I thought you were gonna end the sentence.
I didn't know where you were going with that, and I was frightened, and I'm still frightened. I don't know why I put up with you people. Anyways, we're supposed to be talking about wrestling.
Well, we kind of were.
Yes.
Roundly.
Yeah, in a roundabout way. Monday Night Raw. I missed the first hour, like I usually do. So I know there was a match between Dan O'Brien and Dean Ambrose, which is like, I'm really pissed that I missed it and I haven't watched it yet. Was it good? Did you guys watch?
Worth, that was a pay-per-view caliber match. Here's the thing that I kind of want to jump to, actually. There was a promo where Heyman, who clearly went to the,
I saw that, but we were starting at the beginning of Raw.
Well, no, I just want to jump ahead because he had said very specifically to Curtis Axel, you don't work for free. And where's Curtis Axel ending up this Sunday? On the free YouTube giveaway match.
Oops. That's terrible.
No, the opening match was really good. I always get really bothered when they have a match like that and they open with it because of all the commercial breaks that they have to interrupt with.
Right.
And
I mean, I was upset because normally I miss the first hour, and every once in a while I'll miss a good match. But to have a match like that in the first hour, that was rough. I was really pissed that I missed that because that's like you said, that's a pay-per-view quality match. That's a match that I wanted to see, at a pay-per-view for something important, not just the throwaway match at the beginning of Raw.
Well, here's my more important question. Did you happen to catch the Santino versus Heath Slater match? Because that was a 4-star match.
That was the match, I walked in the door, and that match was on. That
match literally stole a bit from The Simpsons, and it literally started with, if you get hit, it's your own fault. With one man kicking air and the other doing the windmill at the other one. We'll dress like Elvis. We have to put that in there, that Khali, Santino, and the Leprechaun were all dressed up like Elvis.
The Leprechaun? He has a name.
I already forgot it. Is it
Hornswoggle?
El Tostito?
Little bastard.
You're such a heightist.
I'm such a heightist. That's a thing.
Probably you hate little people and giants. That's what I've decided.
I already have a bad reputation on this show for hating X, Y, and Z. Don't add those to my list.
Well, as a giant, I can tell everybody you're heightist, so psh.
All in all, though, Raw wasn't... I was tweeting with one of our listeners. It just wasn't... It started off really strong, and then it just fizzled out even quicker.
See, here's the thing. I really enjoyed Raw because it had a lot of ridiculous tag team matches. But as a go-home Raw leading into Hell in a Cell, I'm not sure it was the right decision. If that was in the middle of the month or the beginning of the month as, kind of a throwaway Raw where you don't really need it to do anything or accomplish anything, that would have been fantastic. We got to see, our favorite ridiculous tag teams. We got to see 3MB. We got to see Los Matadores. We got to see all the people that you don't necessarily see on a weekly basis. But,
What Kathryn's getting at is it was the best Sunday Night Heat she's ever seen.
Yes.
She has no idea what you're talking about.
No, I do. I've been studying.
And it's
Don't be a jerk to me.
It's not just any Sunday Night Heat. It was the Sunday Night Heat that MTV picked up. where you got, an hour and a half worth of, this is what happened on Raw. Oh, here's a match that you don't really care about. We're just going to give it to you.
It's 25 minutes of WWE New York.
Yeah, well, here's The Godfather versus Mosh. Enjoy.
Here's a terrible segment on stage.
Isn't that what Main Event is?
I don't know. I don't watch it. You're our authority on that one.
Main Event is pretty rough. Although I've like missed so much wrestling this week. Wednesday it was supposed to be Seth Rollins versus Goldust, and I heard that was a good match. I would expect that to have been a fantastic match. So
No.
I'm kind of sad I missed that one. I have so much to catch up on.
Now, I didn't catch this one, but I did read up on it that Vince McMahon was a little irritated with Cody Rhodes on commentary during the Usos match.
Yeah, I heard about that as well. I mean, I kind of thought it was weird, though they were just kind of there. And, like, it was pretty clear, like, Dean Ambrose is going after them hardcore, expecting a response. But, I mean, I thought the segment ended well, like, the match and everything ended well. I understand his point of, like, Cody Rhodes wasn't giving much back in terms of commentary.
Well, is this because there was big praise for JBL? I didn't catch this part of the show, but I mean, I've noticed for a while now that JBL seems to be where I would like to see the commentating team go in terms of...
No.
What?
Well, okay. Maybe, like, JBL right now is, like, in the middle. Like, Michael Cole is where I want commentary to be. JBL is, like, almost there, like, he's a little bit of comic relief, and Jerry Lee Lawler is Jerry blah, 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 blah. Jerry Lawler is just absolutely horrific. I mean, JBL is getting there, but I would not say that he is what I want commentary to be, in the slightest.
I love the fact that every show you create a new wrestler / tag team accidentally.
Shut your face. Some of them are intentional, like Celtic Broskies.
Now, how is Celtic Broskies going to fare now that Sheamus lost the beard? Is that even an encouraging sign that Celtic Broskies is on the horizon?
I mean, he says he's going to grow something back. Like, it's just temporary. But I will say, like, my best friend Dan sent me a picture of it. Because he was Sheamus for Halloween, but he didn't have the facial hair. So he wanted to prove to me that it was still okay by sending me the picture of him clean shaven. And, like, it kind of made me want to cry. Like, I'm a huge Sheamus fan. Like, on my list of pre-approved people from my father that I'm allowed to marry someday, like, Rob Gronkowski is number 1 and Sheamus is number 2.
Not to get morbid here on you kids, but literally us beginning to talk seriously about wrestling and then ultimately starting to talk about Sheamus's facial hair was the equivalent of when I was watching the Today Show and they were talking about the teacher in Danvers who was brutally murdered and then segued into who's going to be playing 50 Shades of Grey, who's going to be playing the main character.
It's not that bad.
It was such a terrible transition.
Hey, do you know, I was waiting in the lab to get blood work today, and I had to watch like a 15-minute segment about the Red Sox facial hair. You can stand by for a 2-second rant about me saying that I'm sad Sheamus's like face is clean shaven, and that I hope he grows something back because he's way more attractive with it. Boom, done. Moving on, so Eddie doesn't feel all terrible because we're not addressing the real issues in the world.
Well, because this is a wrestling show, allow me to talk about the World Series. Apparently, they had like the jets flying over Fenway to protect us from terrorism. Can I tell you how frightening of a moment it was when your girlfriend and her sister are sitting here freaking out because they're convinced it's the end of the world. This is it. And of course, I found the opportunity to make the joke that if the Red Sox don't win, the terrorists win.
Oh, jeez.
God, Eddie.
Throwing this out there.
Well, now that we're totally off the topic of wrestling, let's get back on.
Well,
what else was there Monday night but Raw that stuck out to you? Anything?
The end with the Big Show, I guess, is really the only thing that jumped out at me because I'm starting to wonder, 1 minute from the next, is this going to play into Daniel Bryan's favor or is this going to backfire? Is he going to turn heel at the pay-per-view? Or is Vince McMahon the one pulling the strings of Big Show?
And I mean, it leads you to wonder, I mean, pulling off something like bringing in a giant-ass truck normally is some sort of, like, foreshadowing of something else. Ryback didn't drive around in an ambulance for nothing for 3 weeks. Like, it led to an ambulance match. So it's kind of like, well, maybe the truck will have something to do with the match. Maybe they're trying to introduce something different just to make it interesting. Because Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton is... I love them both, but it's starting to get boring. Like, it's happened so many times. Like, they've gone back on the decision so many times that, I don't know, like, I'm having a hard time, like, keeping involved with it. So I'm wondering if they're thinking that introducing something like that will increase interest in it again.
Well, and then you go into two different categories where he could show up with the truck, like a Stone Cold Backlash scenario, like he brought in the DX Express that he blew up, or we're going to the WCW Sumo Monster Truck match. I mean, Jason, your thoughts on any of Monday Night Raw?
Just that segment. I just feel like everybody's stealing Daniel Bryan's thunder. Like,
yeah,
he's never the guy that not gets the last word, but like seems to be the forefront of the focus. Like, you know, when you had Austin, was always he comes out, sneaks in, gives somebody the stunner. Yeah, he didn't win the match, maybe he didn't win the title, but you know, he's, you know, raising his hands, he's doing something, he's shown in a, you know, powerful figure, and it's always like Daniel Bryan's an afterthought. You know, it's let me highlight Triple H, let's highlight Randy Orton, let's highlight Big Show.
Right.
I just get annoyed with that.
Well, the fact that Big Show essentially stole Daniel Bryan's chant from him.
Yeah.
Oops.
I mean, I'm just kind of on the fence with this one because, you know, last week you had me on Big Show's side. This week, not so much. Because it seems like he's piggybacking on Daniel Bryan, and that's how he's going to get his fan pop.
Yeah. I definitely agree. Like, there's two ways that you can play the storyline. There's, you know, the big bad corporation, like, beating down the little guys, or there's the little guy, like, trying to make a name for himself in the big bad corporation, and it definitely seems like they're doing more of the beating down on the little guys. It's like, well, you're taking away his ability to stand on his own 2 feet. If he's constantly getting saved by Big Show, or if he's constantly, you know, being belittled and stuff, then it's you're not letting him have the opportunity to come out and prove himself as a star, which they made it seem very much like at the beginning, like that was what the purpose of this was, you know, John Cena wasn't here, let's bring up some other names, kind of move him to the main card, and so they chose Daniel Bryan, and now it seems like they're doing everything they can to squish him back. And yes, some of that storyline, but they're not giving him the opportunity, and they've been complaining that, you know, Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan aren't getting the ratings or the interest that they mean to, but it's like, I feel like they've kind of botched the storyline. They keep they've dragged things on too far. There's been too many taking the title away. It's just been too much. So it hasn't led to anything.
Well, that was the joke I made on Twitter on Monday, which was, you know, Steph and Triple H came out and said, you know, we'll guarantee you we're a champion at the pay-per-view. Then again, of course, if it's Daniel Bryan, well, we don't like that champion, so we're going to take the belt away from him.
Yeah.
Like, you're guaranteeing the fans a definitive event to this pay-per-view, but it still seems to me like, you got me once with that.
Yeah.
Now, my curiosity has more to do now with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Where's Sandow?
Yeah. Because, I mean, I know we were kind of speaking a little bit last time about how, like, I feel like him cashing in now is just, the only reason for him to cash in right now would be to either A, get squashed by Cena, or B, try to abate all the people who are pissed off he didn't cash in at the last pay-per-view.
But that's my thing. The fact that Cena's returning, hasn't that already overshadowed the fact that there's still a briefcase out there?
Oh, yeah. If he cashed in, it would get completely lost. No matter when he cashed in, or how he cashed in, or if he win or lose. Like, wins or loses. Like, no one's going to pay attention to it. The big story of the night, no matter what, that's going to come out of this pay-per-view is going to be the return of John Cena.
Now, does that even overshadow the Orton-Bryan match?
It shouldn't, but it will.
Well, it'll be interesting to see which match falls where on the card. Because it is the return, and I joked on Twitter, and a lot of people shit on me for it, but John Cena gets hurt, instant #1 contendership.
Yeah. No, it is.
Because you have a locker room full of guys that deserve that, you know, that match at least, or that push just as much. Why does he get it just because he's returning?
Right. Especially since, you know, the heavyweight title has always kind of been like the SmackDown belt. Like, to turn around and have the match and have the #1 contender be John Cena. It's like, well, do the guys on SmackDown mean so little to you that you're not even going to give them the opportunity, that you're just going to take the belt and give it to Cena and say, well, okay, here's it to Cena? There's so many other ways that they could, I guess, add credibility to the belt while using the guys from SmackDown and utilizing the guys that maybe don't
Well,
quite make the main card yet.
The only way it works in my mind, and again, it's a far-fetched, typical Eddie thing to say, is we got a tweet, and let me see who it was. At Brutal Buckeye Nation posted a link to a Bleacher Report. John Cena and Nikki Bella may turn heel soon. Now, if that were to be the case, and you have one Bella representing Cena and the other representing Daniel Bryan, what happens if they both hold their respective titles? Could there be a unification there? And at this point, if John Cena's going to turn heel, why would he have to turn heel with his real-life girlfriend?
I mean, I like the idea of the Bella Twins separating, especially since, I mean, with Total Divas and stuff, they've been trying to kind of make it like let you see, you know, Nikki and Bella and Brie are two different people. So, I mean, it would go along with that kind of flow if they separated the two of them. I think it would be an interesting dynamic because they've never been separated before, and actually, I don't think they've ever been like babyface before. I think Brie turning babyface is really the first time that's been done with the two of them, and so to kind of have them separate, I think would work really well. The problem is, how do you turn John Cena heel? The only way to be able to do it would be to extend the thing and have him join the McMahons and be, you know, I'm the face of the company or whatever they've been doing with it. But I mean, the problem with leading to anything like that is getting John Cena over as a heel.
No, I mean, Jay, your thoughts on that? Because in my mind, right now, the power struggle is Orton, Bryan. Now, if you make it, Cena comes back, well, I'm the face of the company, and then you have Bryan saying, well, no, I'm the face of the company. What was the whole point of using Orton at all?
Placeholder.
Yeah.
Transitional champion.
Basically. I don't know. I like I said, I hope this is done so, you know, the SmackDown sci-fi license is coming up. I hope their intention is, okay, Cena, SmackDown is now your show. Do what you did to Raw. Make it, you know, the kid-friendly show. Bryan has Raw now. You have SmackDown. Hopefully, you know, and add some value back up to that belt. Like, at one point, like, that, you know, that main evented, like, 2 or 3 WrestleManias. So it had prominence in the company at one point, and it fizzled and lost it all. Like, if Cena can bring that back, that's great. Like, I wouldn't hate that.
So, in other words, SmackDown has become, like, a TNA equivalent.
Not even close.
Well, judging by those pictures and stuff.
Yeah. Well, here's my question for you. At a time when it's really hard for them to get the ratings they need on Monday night, they're up against Monday Night Football right now. They're up against the World Series. They have a bunch of things that they're up against on Monday nights. Is it wise to take a moneymaker like John Cena and a ratings whore like John Cena and send him over to Fridays when they clearly need the boost again on Mondays? Is that the smart move, or are they kind of just saying, well, no one's going to watch Mondays because of football, we might as well move him anyways?
I don't know.
See, that's a double-edged sword to me, because Friday night is essentially a television graveyard. Like, anytime a popular TV show gets demoted to a Friday night, you know it's getting canceled.
Yeah.
Like, that's just common knowledge. With the exception of young kids, who the hell watches Friday Night SmackDown? With the exception of Kathryn.
Those of us with no social lives?
Are there enough of you to get those ratings up?
More than likely.
I mean, it's a pre-taped show that airs on Friday nights. I mean, I've always believed that either dump the show or switch nights and make it live.
Yeah. There was talk a while ago to make it live on Tuesday. I wonder what.
Done that. Yeah, I mean, they did that several times last year, the year before, where they did the Super SmackDowns before they kind of did the. I mean, they've kind of done it now where Raw and SmackDown are both kind of, you know, all of the superstars. But for a while, they were doing the Super SmackDowns on Tuesdays. And I think that was about the time that Monday Night Football had started up that year. So, and that was kind of their response, was try to get more ratings on Tuesdays to make up for Monday being down. So that's why I guess I'm kind of wondering, you know, is it smart to be making changes, or what? Do you think John Cena moving has anything to do with Monday Night Football? Because that's their biggest competition.
Yeah, but that's only an issue for 16 weeks out of the year or so. So
right, but you could, if you shuffle John Cena now for 16 weeks, you can shuffle him back in a couple of weeks. You can make changes for a couple of weeks and then redo it again.
Yeah. I don't know, but you don't necessarily lose John Cena if he's your headliner on SmackDown. You know what I mean?
You think you're going to make him work all of the shows?
Why not? There's plenty of guys who do it.
I mean, it's true. But normally once you get to a certain level, you kind of don't have to do that anymore.
Maybe John Cena starts the show and Bryan finishes it. I don't know.
Well, then you get a 1 or 2. What about CM Punk?
Middle of the show. I don't know. He's got to get a title shot in here somewhere.
He's lost so much momentum and so much steam. Like, I mean, 3 months ago, we were on the edge of our seat anytime he walked on the TV. Like, anytime he walked on that stage, like, everyone was paying attention. And I feel like I'm not sure it's necessarily the quality of his promos. I think it's just been his placement in the card, the feuds that he's been stuck in. Then people are losing interest.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you complained about Daniel Bryan and Orton losing steam. It's at least a main card rivalry as opposed to Punk, Heyman, Curtis Axel, Ryback, which is, if you ask me, barely middle of the card.
Right. And like we know for a fact, I mean, they're advertising Heyman and Punk for Survivor Series again. That's one of the big things that they've been advertising for Survivor Series, which means the feud isn't over after this weekend. It keeps going. So how long does this last?
I hope, like I've been saying since SummerSlam, that we get a Brock CM Punk match at Survivor Series. End it there. Let Punk get his redemption. I don't know. Like, that's the only way I can see to end it.
But at this point, does it even matter? Because how many people even, to be perfectly honest with you, how many people even have Brock Lesnar in their minds anymore?
Maybe that's perfect timing. I don't know.
I mean, to me, that's
the problem was they did the whole thing backwards.
Yeah.
They started off with Punk and Brock, and then they did Punk and Axel, and now they're doing Punk and Ryback. So I feel like instead of building up to the great Punk Brock match, they're going downhill.
Yeah.
And because it's just dragging and dragging and dragging, it's gotten so old so fast. I mean, the best part that happened, like, in this feud, the most interesting thing that happened was the Punk Truth match versus Axel and Ryback. Like, that was the most interesting match in this feud in the last month for me.
Yeah.
Was that one match. And that was because they brought in another person, and there was another dynamic there for a while. But one person can only face the same people so many times before you get bored of it. If there's nothing being done to spice it up. There's nothing being added to it to make me go, oh, okay, well, this is why it's continuing.
Well,
it's just the same feud from 4 months ago.
It's the equivalent of any time that Kofi Kingston comes out to challenge for the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah.
Or like, how many matches could you watch? As much as I love Ziggler and Kofi Kingston. I mean, I swear to God, that rivalry lasted 2.5 years.
Yeah. Well, because it's filler. When you have nothing to do, okay, take Ziggler and Kofi and throw them in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, for example, too, and this was another joke I made that I think is very true. I've never seen someone so excited to get squashed by Orton. Like,
That's true.
It's almost like Ziggler has to, like, pump himself up knowing that his career is just fizzling.
Yeah. I mean, and, like, the dirt sheets have had a lot to say about it, and I'm not sure how much of it is true. Saying that he has a bad attitude and saying, and it's if all of that is true, then it's really disappointing because he's clearly dug himself a big hole that, 6 months ago, all of us were behind him like there was no tomorrow. Like, there's very few people you could have asked about Dolph Ziggler and they would have said that they didn't support him. Like, he had such a huge following, and then for it to go downhill so fast is like, if it is something he did, like, what an idiot. And if he hasn't done something, like, somebody get their shit together and put that guy back on TV in a good way, because it's insane.
So in other words, it sounds like Ziggler pulled a swagger. You swaggered your push, good sir.
But he's even more prominent.
Yeah. Swagger got arrested for drug possession and, like, operating under the influence or whatever. And he's still on the screen all the time. I have seen more of Swagger than I've seen of Ziggler. And some of that is because of Cesaro, and some of that's because Cesaro has a lot of momentum right now.
Well, a lot of it, I feel like, has to do with Zeb Coulter, because that guy instant heat when he came into the company. Instant.
Oh,
It
yeah.
didn't matter who they paired him with. If you paired anybody with him, they'd get instant heat. They'd get a reaction.
Yeah.
Right, but they clearly knew they were gonna add Cesaro into that mix. They could have had him switch to Cesaro and kick out Swagger and say you're not good enough if they really wanted to punish Swagger for what he had done. So clearly, whatever Ziggler has done or supposedly has been doing is seen in their eyes as worse than what Swagger did. So that's, I don't know. It's a confusing situation, and clearly we don't know all of the facts, but it just seems like such a waste.
Here's an interesting one. Even RVD, WWE addressed the RVD issue and said he's not even under contract right now.
Yeah.
I mean, now here's my big question. What's the point of bringing back someone like RVD to one of your big summer pay-per-views and then pairing him with Rodriguez and then he's out? Like, what was the point of what was the point of even giving him, like, even a short-term contract?
Yeah.
You'd think they'd, like, plan towards, hey, we're going to do this match with, Ziggler, with whoever, something fans are going to want to see. Instead, it kind of seems like they were like, well, Del Rio's free. Let's put him with him for 2 months.
Yeah. Right, because normally, I mean, the guys that have, the short-term contracts or the occasional appearance contracts is always for something specific. Undertaker is contracted to come back for WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar has been contracted several times to come back for specific feuds. And it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't seem like they did that for RVD. It seems like he just kind of got a contract. He was there for a couple of weeks, and now he's gone. It was nice to see him. Do we miss him a little bit? But did he make an impact while he was back?
To me, it's unlike Jericho. Whenever Jericho comes back, it's short term, but you also know when he leaves, you're gonna miss him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, with RVD, it was almost like they were trying to get a feel for, like, is he still a viable commodity? And if so, maybe if he could put asses in the seats and sell some merchandise, we'll keep him. But it didn't seem like RVD's return was as profitable this time around as it could have been.
But is that because of RVD or is that because of the way he was booked? If he was booked into one of the main storylines, or if he was booked into, I mean, we had mentioned several times about him being booked into the Paul Heyman CM Punk feud, like bring him in as part of that. If he had been involved in something and had a specific role that he was playing, I think it would have made a big difference in the way people responded to him.
I think, honestly, you were on something. If they had booked RVD into the Punk, Heyman, Curtis Axel feud, it would have taken off. And it would have, I would have had more invested in the Punk Heyman feud if you took an original ECW guy and put him in the mix and said, this is what Paul Lee did to us. If you could have played it off like everybody blames Paul Heyman for the demise of ECW,
I mean, it would have added interest to that feud and it would have sparked that feud a little bit more, but it also would have given RVD purpose and it would have created a better reaction to. So it's, I mean, I understand what you're saying about, like, people just didn't react to RVD, but to me that's the way he was booked, not necessarily the way that the crowd responded to him, because he got a huge pop when he came back and they didn't capitalize on it. They had him come back for the ladder match. He lost the ladder match. Like, they had him feud with Del Rio. Lost to Del Rio. So what exactly did he come back for?
That's my question for Jason, because honestly, he's the RVD mark of the show.
I was lost. Even at SummerSlam, a week before, it was like, he's not doing anything on the show, and he was in the main event of the last one. I wonder if they got pissed that I think he was the one that took out Sheamus. I wonder if they got pissed at him.
Maybe.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
It seems funny to me because Sheamus, I mean, I could be wrong. My nephew is a huge Sheamus and Cena fan.
See, he has half good taste.
Well, my thing is, are they pissed because they put more stock in Sheamus as the PG era commodity, or, I mean, do they have faith in veterans anymore? I mean, because, you heard about Ric Flair coming back, and they kind of teased it and pairing him with The Miz, and then next thing you know, Ric Flair's gone, and then he's on the hooch, he ruins the panel, JR is, unceremoniously retired. I mean, what do you think their take on veterans in the current climate is?
I think they've been burned a lot. And it's hard to put a lot of stock into people like that when your last several attempts have ended badly. But I mean, there's people that they've brought back that it's been fine. And I don't know, I feel like I mean, if you are correct that, maybe they put a lot of heat on RVD because of what happened to Sheamus, like, you can understand that because Sheamus is such, he's kind of, like, he's a good worker. He's one of the guys that works all of the shows. He's one of the guys that never takes vacations, never takes time off. Like, he's there every show, always putting in, like, a foot, like, no matter what he's booked in, like, he's always involved in stuff. And so, like, you can understand them being upset if you are correct and that was RVD. But I don't know. Why pay, like you said, like, why pay all that money for RVD and then just sink him?
Well, here's my next question then, because Jake Roberts is still adamantly pursuing WWE with a Twitter petition to get him into the Royal Rumble. And this thing could get millions of signatures, and it still seems like they're not interested. Are they not interested because he's not a commodity as Jake the Snake, or that he's a liability as Jake Roberts, a reformed drug addict?
I think it's a liability.
Because that's the thing. I mean, even Scott Hall, you could totally cash in on the whole DDP redemption thing, but know that a lot of your younger talent who you have more faith in could pay the price physically if you put any of these guys in the ring.
To me, to do that would be like to now book Ric Flair. Because if you book Ric Flair now, you go, well, is he going to get drunk and ruin our panel again? Like, I think it's different when you look at guys that, I mean, RVD does have his drug history. We all know the story. But, I mean, when you look at guys that do have, substance abuse issues or, issues behaving themselves, then, I mean, I feel like it is a slightly different story, and I don't blame them for distrusting them. And I think it is a liability issue.
Is that sort of like an old dog mentality, though? Like, because WWE is very high on their, and we talked about on the last show, that the PG era has proved commercially more successful than, previous eras. Does it have a lot to do with the behavior of the superstars and, them implementing the wellness policy and making sure that everybody's clean and everybody's healthy? And I mean, they take concussions so seriously now that they'll pull someone off TV for months at a time just to make sure that, you know what I mean? I don't know. I guess, that would be a phone-in question, 978-276-9418. Is that helping or hurting the product?
I mean, to me, it's a PR issue because, I mean, how many times have you heard stories about, I mean, as an extreme example, but you like a rapper getting invited to the White House and everybody gets all up in a tizzy because they have a drug history or they have an arrest record. Like, Americans do that with everything. Like, parents don't want their kids influenced by people, no matter how long they've been sober, no matter, what they've done to redeem themselves or to try to make things right or try to make themselves better. Like, parents will look at it as, why are my kids getting exposed to a former addict? And some of the guys like Jake Roberts or Scott Hall, like, they haven't been sober as long, and it's still fresh in people's minds that that's what their behavior was. So it's a lot. So I feel like a lot of people would make a big stink about it. So to me, it's a PR issue with the PG era because the kids are making you the most money. The kids are the ones who go, Mommy, Daddy, buy that for me. And if you get less kids watching because you've brought in someone their parents don't approve of, you're sunk.
Jay, your thoughts?
Well, probably goes into the moral clause that we mentioned last week.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you have, naked pictures, no, I'm sure you have drug issues, but that also is counterintuitive because you also have like RVD and, Jack Swagger, which you've put on your shows, but
right.
Who have had issues, and X-Pac popped up and he's had his porn star or not porn star sex tape with China and shit.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, it's weird, and like you said, if it is a standard that they're trying to hold to people, they're not being consistent with it, and maybe part of the moral clause is them trying to be more consistent with it and try to enforce it better.
Well,
so,
here's my question too, not to interrupt, but I essentially gave away the Attitude Era DVD to a little listener, but also because it kind of seems like they're trying to right all the wrongs that they did in that decade.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I mean, it's almost as if like that DVD was so diluted because you took out the best aspects of that decade, which was it was very organic. It wasn't forced. It wasn't squeaky clean. It was very genuine. But is what made that era so genuine what pretty much shortened and even killed off the careers of several superstars.
Yeah.
Are we becoming more complacent with the fact that we've reached a point in wrestling where it is squeaky clean?
And I don't have a problem with squeaky clean wrestling. I think the problem is trying to balance the new squeaky clean wrestling with, the old ways. It's hard to bring in someone from the Attitude Era and trust that they're going to get on camera with a live mic and not revert to their old ways.
I think that's essentially why Road Dogg and Billy Gunn were made agents as opposed to, they got their TV exposure, but I feel like that's how they were testing the waters, because, Road Dogg's first appearance was at the Slammies the year Kane returned, and he was very clean. I keep my verbiage and everything I do PG because this is me, essentially, job security.
Yeah.
Right.
Does that hurt him as a performer, though? Because despite the fact that he wasn't the Road Dogg of the Attitude Era, he was still, you know what I mean?
I think that's the hard part, is that even if he came out and he did the squeaky clean Road Dogg and he did it perfect and people still responded well to him, the people that know Road Dogg, the people that know the Attitude Era, are going to expect him to be somebody else that he can't be in the new era. And it's the same thing with the Attitude Era DVD. You were upset because it was diluted, but they can't release an Attitude Era DVD in the current PG era and expect it to have the same behavior and the same actions that it did and the same impact that it did back then, because they can't allow, like you said, they can't allow it to contain half of the stuff that you enjoyed from the Attitude Era. So to me, it would almost seem more beneficial to say, do you know what, the time is over, the Attitude Era is done, go back and buy the old DVDs on Amazon if you want, but we're not going to put any more of it out, because I feel like it does ruin the characters. It ruins what happens. It ruins how special wrestling was back then. I don't think there's anything wrong with what wrestling is now, but when you try to take what it was then and conform it to what it is now, you lose so much of what it was and how it was special and how important it was.
Well, I think it'd be time, because I do kind of want to get to some of our Twitter questions here, because, there aren't a lot of them, but there's some interesting ones. James Williams, should WWE do a best of Last Man Standing matches DVD? No.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think any of those matches were really. Even the first one that I remember seeing was, and it might have been the first one they ever had, was, and I could be very wrong on this. Jason's the wrestling nerd; he'll pick up where I leave off. But Mankind Rock ended in a double count out. That was such an anticlimactic Last Man Standing match. Jason, even your opinion, compared to the matches that they had at Halftime Heat and the Rumble and Rock Bottom and in Worcester, it just seemed very anticlimactic. It wasn't anything worth making a fuss about.
Yeah, I didn't care for that when that happened, but
I've yet to see a Last Man Standing match that really I could consider a 4-star match.
Yeah.
Much less an entire DVD of them.
Well, that's the thing, is I can't really stand those 12 hours of, Hell in the Cell matches and tables, ladders, and chairs collections. And it's
well, let me put it this way. There's a reason why in 2013 at a Hell in the Cell pay-per-view, they're still showing stock footage of Mick Foley being thrown off the cell.
Yeah.
In terms of how people feel about that match, there's really, if you ask a real fan, that's the definitive Hell in the Cell match. Unless you count Bad Blood 97, where Kane made his introduction and he tombstones Undertaker. I've seen countless Hell in the Cell matches, and frankly, none of them have really left as much of a mark as, say, the King of the Ring 98 one did.
Yeah.
Well, and kind of to what Jason was saying, and also adding, there's a great video online, the Wrestling 101 with Justin Credible this week, where he talks about, the holding your place in a card and knowing, if you're the second match, don't do all the big spots because it leaves nothing for the end. And to me, if you do the compilation DVDs of the TLC matches, I'm with Jason, I have a hard time watching them, and part of it's because, there's a reason why there's one TLC or two TLC matches on a card, because you can't do. There's only so many spots you can do with a table. There's only so many spots you can do with a ladder. And there's only so much you can build upon. If you do a fantastic match and then you watch another match and they don't do those spots, then like it loses its momentum. So to watch 8 of them in a row is overwhelming because you're trying to figure out as a viewer, you're sitting there trying, well, you know, that's a cool spot, but there was that cooler spot in the match we just watched. And you try to piece it all together, and it just doesn't, like, you can't watch that many matches in a row that are similar because it won't hold.
That should be like a half hour to an hour special on the WWE network. A best of, but not, 3-4 hours of, nonstop cage matches.
Or even they've done the oh my god moments or whatever. Like, those are a little bit better because they're in ascending order, but they're also just a snippet. Like, it's one spot from a match, or it's a one match as opposed to 8 matches like combined into one. So like if they did something like that, like best moments from a last man standing match, maybe, but in terms of an entire DVD, oh god, no.
Yeah. Buy an event DVD. Don't waste your money on a compilation.
Well, he had another question here, and I do find it rather interesting because we have talked about it before. How would you book John Cena versus Undertaker at WrestleMania 30? And it would have to main event. Taker, that would have to be the retirement match, and no stipulations. It would have. Well, I just feel like it would have to be like a
no holds bar kind of thing.
I almost want to feel like it should have no gimmicks. Like, it should be count out, disqualification. It would have to be a normal match. Unless, of course, you want to make it a buried alive match, in which case you could do something, dare I say, poetic, where Undertaker gets buried and essentially his career goes with.
I mean, to me, maybe it's just like nostalgia, but I really liked, it was several shows ago, we kind of came up with our own storyline of what we wish was happening with the McMahons, and what we kind of said then, it'd be really awesome to have, John Cena siding with the McMahons and have Undertaker kind of come back to defend wrestling as it should be, and like the WWE as it should be. And we were talking about how there should be, kind of the underdog guys versus the big guys. Have John Cena with the McMahons because he's the face of the company. And if Undertaker were to come back to help them kind of usurp the McMahons, like, I feel like that would be a great angle, but it would have to be done right. In terms of just a normal John Cena Undertaker match, I feel like Eddie's correct. Like, it would have to be just straightforward, have the match, show how amazing both of them are, and end it for the Undertaker.
Well, here's the thing. What made the two, not just one, both Michaels Undertaker matches so special? They were phenomenal wrestling matches.
Yeah.
And these were guys that all through the Attitude Era had phenomenal wrestling matches. I mean, they had phenomenal gimmick matches like the Hell in a Cell and the casket match. But what really made those matches worth watching, I mean, yeah, there's the introduction of the Hell in a Cell or the casket match, and Kane lights up the casket. The emphasis wasn't so much on the gimmick as much as it was the performers in the ring doing what they did best.
Yeah.
I would make the same argument for the most part with the CM Punk match. I mean, there was, the added death of Paul Bearer, but in terms of the two guys in the ring, it was really focused on the two of them as performers and as wrestlers.
I'll agree with that. I'll agree 100% because CM Punk is a phenomenal. I don't want to compare him to Michaels because he's not the same kind of wrestler as Michaels, and it would be blasphemy to even say, like, oh, he's like the next Shawn Michaels, because he's not. But in terms of what he can do in the ring, being his size, he's an equal to Michaels, I would say.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, people can disagree with that. You get TV tracks, that's all you want. I would simply say that he's definitely,
just can't let it go.
In terms of his size, he's an equal.
Yeah.
I mean, I would even say that about Jericho. A Jericho-Undertaker match would be phenomenal. Just because of the kind of performers. And I mean, the fact that Undertaker and Jericho are submission specialists.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if Jericho ever took on Undertaker at WrestleMania, if for some reason that happened, I feel like that would never be the match to end the streak. I feel like that would be a phenomenal match, but that wouldn't be the match. I feel like if Undertaker takes on John Cena, like that's now or never. Like either he loses to John Cena or he never loses at all.
I would think though that John Cena Undertaker would be an excellent substitute for Undertaker Sting, because it's a match that, well, I mean, in a way, because Sting Undertaker has never happened, and that would be the allure to that match. But I feel like the fact that John Cena is like Hulk Hogan folklore kind of wrestling versus Undertaker, who's always been Undertaker, it's a big draw, and it would have to main event. There's no way it could fall anywhere else on the card but end the show.
Yeah.
And I think, personally, I think that's a phenomenal candidate for WrestleMania 30. Will it happen? Probably not. I mean, 978-276-9418 at MO Commentary. I'm curious, where would you guys book Taker, Cena, and what would you do with it? Because, I mean, it's the dream match that nobody wants to admit that they do have.
Yeah. I mean, because as much as we shit on John Cena, at the end of the day, he is great at what he does.
Yeah.
And he is legitimately the face of the company. Like, when you think of WWE, you think of John Cena, because that's who he is, and that's like everything about him is WWE. And at the end of the day, if Undertaker's gonna lose, if he loses to John Cena, that's like a history making moment for more than just, he loses the streak. Like, that's legitimately the passing of the torch. Like, we're like, us old guys, we're done now. I'm the last one. You take it. You bring the new guys up. Like, that is the passing of the torch moment. And that's why I say, like, it's either John Cena or it's nobody.
That would be, if I'm not mistaken here, that would be the Live Aid police handing the instruments to U2 right after they finish their set. That would essentially be we're the old guys, we're done. You're the blue chippers. You're carrying the company out of the wilderness and into the promised land. It's yours now. We're going home.
Yep.
I don't know.
I'm telling you, that's going to be a sad day for us, Marks. I know it's specifically for Jason and I, that's going to be a very sad day when Undertaker. Because we can joke about the fact that he's older, he doesn't have that stride in his step anymore. And yeah, he should have hung up his boots long ago, but it's still the Undertaker. The day that he does retire is going to be a really sad day.
He's still able to make WrestleMania the best thing of all year. I went to that event, and that was my WrestleMania. So...
Because no matter how old he gets, it's not like the Rolling Stones. Like, the Rolling Stones, you buy the ticket, it says the Rolling Stones, you get there, and it's all these, like, geriatric, rock stars that are well beyond, their prime or whatever. But Undertaker, it's like he comes out and he still has that mystique, that enigmatic quality to him that you're glued to the TV. Even if the match is, like, a 6 out of 10 match, it still... started with the gong, and he comes out and he still has that charisma about him.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, the way to book that match is, especially if you're going to do it this soon to how he was just given the last torch at last year's WrestleMania, is that this would have to be the turning point of Cena.
It would have to be heel Cena.
The only way to get a victory over The Undertaker would be for Cena to turn himself heel in the process.
It would, if it didn't end clean, the only way I could be happy with it not ending clean is if Cena pulled a heel move by having McMahon come out and cost his most prized possession, because Undertaker is Vince McMahon's creation. Undertaker called Mark Calloway and said, "Are you my Undertaker?" That's essentially how that relationship started, for Vince to turn his back on his own creation and say, "No, now my faith is in this other guy."
But
to me, that's
the only way you can turn Cena, is have him beat the best thing in the company. You know what I mean?
I mean, there's two different ways to look at it. There's there's Vince McMahon turning on the Undertaker, but there's also the Undertaker turning on Vince McMahon. Because Vince McMahon's been pushing him to do it, and Mark's kind of been like, "Oh, I don't really want to do it anymore. I'm getting old." But he keeps doing it, and so there's two different scenarios. There's Vince McMahon turning on him, and then there's the Undertaker saying, "Yeah, I'm done. I told you I was done. Like, I'm done. Like, leave me alone."
Well, no, that's even, and not to interrupt you in most things, because that's a brilliant outlook on it. I remember and it was such a shit match. Does anyone remember the Sledgehammer ladder match with Triple H and Kevin Nash?
Yeah.
When Kevin Nash held up the Wolfpack click sign, and Triple H did the crotch chop and then ended the match. if Taker did something similar where Vince is vehemently against Cena and Taker does the throat slash and he lets Cena do the AA to him and then his career's over. Something like that would just be like a holy shit, like, oh my god, they actually just told the story in the ring.
Yeah.
When's the last time you saw that? Aside from Santino versus Heath Slater.
I don't know. I just feel like if that happens, as much as I feel it should happen this year, it won't. And I'm kind of seeing that Brock and Undertaker is on the books this year.
If it is, it's not going to end well because realistically, there's no way Undertaker, even if it is a fake entertainment sport, there's no way Undertaker could take Brock. I mean, Brock, even at Brock's age, is still a fucking beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it would take a lot of black magic to get me to believe that Undertaker could take Brock.
Right. And I feel like, if Undertaker and Brock were to fight, and, for some reason they have Brock win to make it more believable, I mean, how disappointed would you be if Undertaker lost the streak to Brock Lesnar? I mean, not to ditch on Brock Lesnar, because he's fabulous at what he does. He's a beast. Like, it's impressive watching him in a ring. But
you can't have a part-timer lose to another part-timer.
Right. Well, even just more than that, just, the streak, like we were talking about, the streak stands for so much more than just he hasn't lost at WrestleMania. He is the company, and, it stands for so much more. And if that were to go down to someone like Brock Lesnar, it would just be completely different.
I mean, I think this is a good point to wrap the show up, because that was actually...
Well, we have to do predictions for the pay-per-view, my dear.
Well, we'll get to those predictions. I do want to point out that Kane should be back on TV anytime now. And when we talked about Kane's career, I mean, is Kane almost done? And if he is, do we want Kane to be done via Bray Wyatt?
I think it would be interesting, because in the same way that we were saying, Undertaker would hand off the company to John Cena, for Kane to hand off the crazy to Bray Wyatt would be kind of amusing, because Kane has been that guy for a decade now. He's been the weirdo monster guy. So for him to lose and retire to someone like Bray Wyatt would mean a lot, because he would be kind of handing off the crazy torch.
You just made me think. I wonder if Kane returns at Hell in a Cell and costs Bryan the title.
There was that ominous Twitter prediction.
There was.
I mean, they never addressed that, and I mean, they can write that off as, oh, that was for the Todd McFarlane Undertaker. No, it wasn't. Those were Daniel Bryan's colors.
Yeah. I mean, and when you say Kane's coming back, there's Kane's coming back, and then I'm like, oh, okay, well, for what? But then it's as soon as your brain clicks, and you're like, wait, he and Bryan all right, something has to happen. It can't just be hunky dory. So either Kane's gonna stick up for Daniel Bryan, or like we said, he's gonna finish turning on Daniel Bryan, and something's gonna happen. But I know they were saying that Kane is supposed to start fighting the Wyatts in house shows. So it looks like maybe they're continuing that feud at least for a little while.
But he went off with Bray. You could always play off the thing Kane came back even darker this time.
I really hope they go for the whole kidnap Stockholm syndrome brainwashing thing, because that would be awesome.
He would just be a monster. He doesn't speak. He's got full mask on. He goes retro.
Well, what if Kane comes back with a developmental female star, Abigail?
Maybe.
Which one's Abigail?
That's Bray's sister, the one that he names the finishing move after that he's always talking about.
I've missed something. That's okay. Continue.
Well, no, I mean, getting into Hell in a Cell predictions, I see Punk coming out. I'm not determined on the end of Orton, Bryan, and I see Cena taking the title. I mean, as far as I know, and I'm hoping the Rhodes brothers hold on to the tag titles.
I'm interested to see what happens if they don't recover the titles. I'm interested to see... we had talked a little bit about, is Dean Ambrose going to turn on them? Is Triple H going to turn on them? Because, the Shield has to break up eventually. And they can't stay together forever. And them losing the titles and Dean still having his would be a heck of a way to tear them apart.
I mean, those are my predictions right now, because I'll be honest, this is another pay-per-view I'm really just, like, surprised me. I'm not as sold on this pay-per-view.
I think there's certain matches that I have a lot of interest in, and then other ones I just really don't. It's supposed to be AJ versus Brie, right? Is the Divas match?
I think so.
Because I've actually had interest in the Divas division for the last couple of weeks. I like Brie Bella as a face, and I really love Tamina's new kind of look.
Bodyguard, kind of.
Yeah, the bodyguard thing.
Although there's the joke that she's just the female Big E. But I like that they kind of done that. Like, she does. I mean, Big E always did that, like, scoop AJ up over his shoulder and carry him off when she's limp. And I thought it was hilarious that Tamina did that. Like, because that's such a nod to that. Yeah, she's just the female Big E. But I think she's really taken it. And I've never liked Tamina. Like, I just had no interest in her. And for the first time, I had interest in her. So I'm actually kind of excited to see it.
The U.S. title is going to be Big E and Curtis Axel, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Could Big E take that?
I do. I think he could.
I think he could too.
I
think it'd be a great matchup.
If anything, they're testing if he can make it as a face on his own.
Right.
So it's either they plan on making him Intercontinental Champion right away, or they plan on giving him a big push after this if it turns out right. So.
All right. Well, any final thoughts on Hell in a Cell?
I think Punk loses because he beat Ryback last year in the Cell, so I don't see him losing twice.
We do have a call. Could you play the call? Because I did promise
sure,
that.
Sure.
Yeah.
The Masked Wrestler here, predicting what will happen at Hell in a Cell. We got Alberto Del Rio versus John Cena. I predict that douchebag John Cena will win, and Damian Santa will cash in. We got Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton. I predict that Randy Orton will lose, and Daniel Bryan will win. Yes, yes, yes. And we all know the best in the world is going to take out Ryback and Paul Heyman. And if you're not down with that, I got 3 words for you. The Masked Wrestler.
I agree with Kathryn. Our caller did have a very sexy voice.
I can't say anything to you people without it getting, oh man. He's making a joke because he's all whispery and like Batman-y, and he knows me and Batman.
He sounds like Nacho Libre.
Nacho. I think Batman should call the show and give his predictions.
Batman or Fat Man?
Batman.
Oh.
I think Del Rio will lose to Cena. Why? Justice.
We gotta get Sean on the show.
Yeah, we do. He wants to be on the show. We just gotta figure out a good night for him, and he can be Batman the whole show.
We will do that.
You can have the week after Fury.
I know. I agree with pretty much. I mean, I think Cena's gonna take the title. I think Punk's gonna go over on Heyman, and I'm hoping Bryan wins the title, but I don't see it happening without something stupid happening after.
I go against all those picks. I don't know. I think every story needs somehow to get into the next story.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like there's a lot of storylines that are ready to be wrapped up and moved on. I feel like if they were to do something with the Orton Bryan feud again, like I feel like it's been done so many times. The only thing they could do to that match to have it be okay is if, like we said, they turn it into a feud against Cena.
Well, let's hope that it doesn't suck by Survivor Series, because the 3 of us will be there.
I'm hoping for an awesome pay-per-view.
Survivor Series, and this isn't confirmed, but there's a rumor that we might be headed somewhere after Survivor Series, so you can meet up with us. We might have
talk
you
to us. We might
talk to us. We might do record snippets to put onto the next show.
Right,
we might hang out with the Shermaniacs. We're not quite sure what's going on. Tweet us and let us know what you think we should do.
Here's the deal. I'm already going to tell us what we're going to do.
Oh, God.
I'm going to say screw our original contest of making a marksman commentary sign and getting on the show to co-host with us. If you at least buy me one suffering bastard of Mai Tai at the restaurant to be unnamed, it rhymes with schmaloon. If you buy me a drink, you already have my blessing that you could come on the show.
If you recognize us.
if you're a transvestite and you come up to say hello to Jason in public, or you buy me a drink, then I'm already sold.
Maybe we should get our Marks on Commentary T-shirts before we go, so people have a chance of recognizing us.
Yeah,
would you buy? Let's put that out to the audience. How many of you would like buy a T-shirt? Like honestly, just tweet us like, hey, I'll buy a T-shirt.
It's like you were expecting someone to answer.
No. I mean, like, I want people like to email me or tweet me or something. Just let me know. Be like, hey, I buy that fucking T-shirt.
Hey, for the record, if I have to buy our own T-shirt, you're dead to me.
We're probably gonna have to. Anyways, and then just throwing it out there, like we kind of mentioned at the beginning, is we're trying to get guests on. It's something new and different for us. It's like something new to offer you guys. We like interviewing some of the indie guys. If there's people that you really love that you think would be totally down with coming on the show, or even if you want to harass some of the bigger name guys until they come on our show because you've Twitter shamed them into it, we're totally down with that. Just have them send me a direct message at VLNPLYR2, and we'll get them booked on. We'll pretty much accept anybody as long as they have something to offer us, and we think they're nice people.
I like the fact that Kathryn's taking the reins on the PR bit, because you know that if it was up to me, any backyard wrestler that gives me like a Coors Light on the street is going to wind up on this show.
Well, one of us is studying public relations. One of us isn't. Just saying.
Is this a guessing game? Try to guess who's not studying public relations. Probably not the guy that uses twat muffin in regular conversation.
There's nothing wrong with saying twat muffin. The problem is when you guys make 30 boner jokes right at the beginning of the show.
It's not
I don't know
boners,
about you.
It's vaginas.
Both of them. Sometimes you like both. You got to choose which one you enjoy best, Jason.
They go together like,
like transvestites.
In my ties.
For the sake of continuity here, I have successfully achieved the lady boner. Jason, if you want, you can add an applause effect there.
I don't no. Oh God. Can we delete that just for my brain's sake?
I need to make like a ta-da kind of or a glowing sound like
That's the sound of me being taken up with the rapture.
We can do some of the Hallelujah chorus, all that Damien Sandow.
Hey, if you got Halloween costumes, if you're going as like superstars or something like that, tweet it to us and I'll retweet them.
There's a ridiculous picture on my Twitter of me dressed as Caitlyn. It's pretty awesome. Won't lie. You should check it out.
There's a good chance.
I had a pretty awesome wig.
There's a good chance that I'm going to go as Bizarro CM Punk when I go to work, which is that I will have toilet paper wrapped around my hands with my Best in the World shirt with the axes on it while smoking a cigarette outside of the thrift store.
Nobody knowing what the fuck you're doing.
I officially win our costume contest.
Oh God! So I went to the Keene Pumpkin Festival in Keene, New Hampshire, and of course everyone's like, "There's barely anyone in costume," but we were going to a party afterwards, so we were all in costume, and I was with a bunch of people dressed as the Peter Pan characters, so they kept taking pictures of them because they were in tights. And they're like, "What are you?" And I was like, "I'm a wrestler." They're like, "Oh, you look like a punk." I'm like, "All right then, whatever you want me to be." Don't expect to get recognized if you're dressed as a wrestler. I'll just let you know now.
Yeah.
So in other words, if you want to get recognition on the show or get on the show, wear tights this Halloween.
Yep.
Yeah. You'd be surprised if you're a guy wearing tights in public, how many people will sneak up behind you and take pictures of your ass? Because it happened at least 3 times to the guy I was with. Just saying.
On that note, I think we're going to wrap up the show.
We didn't say anything about Bound for Glory. Do we want to say anything about Bound for Glory? Can we just at least mention that I was correct in saying that the Bromans were going to win the title? Boom.
Is it correct to say that there were less people at that pay-per-view than there were at the show Jason dragged me to?
Yes.
That was sad. And they're touting it as their most highly attended event.
Oh, God. Are they really?
Yeah.
After all that got leaked?
Yeah, they had a press release or something like that today.
Jason, anything over 20 is a good day for TNA.
I guess so. Did you guys hear that they're going back to Universal too?
Well, because it looks less embarrassing when no one shows up.
It is. I think I'll give them credit. That's the smart move. Go back to Universal.
I think the smart move would to just file for bankruptcy and call it a day.
Somebody will buy that.
I'm sorry, can I get that in a soundboard? Jason's appalled voice when I make fun of TNA.
No, I don't.
We have a lot of sound effects from the show that should be cataloged and saved forever.
No, I would just like to see it, not rise from the ashes, but, become, like, prominent. You have such a talented roster where it's just like, it in all logic, shouldn't be this bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, clearly we know who the optimist on this show is.
I mean, it's not just Jason. I mean, there's people on TNA that I love. I mean, the wrestler formerly known as Derek Bateman, now known as Ethan Carter III. It's hilarious. He was one of my favorite WWE guys that were like just kind of there for like comic relief. And like I loved him when he was in the indies and stuff. And like the fact that he's on TNA, like I want all the best for him. He's phenomenal. I love Jeff Hardy. I love so much of their roster. And it's just like watching their show is nearly unbearable. Like And that stinks because there's things about the show, like not just the roster, there's things about the show that I really like. I like that they're a little bit more rock and roll. I like that they're a little bit edgy. I just feel like it doesn't come together.
Yeah.
And that's an administrative issue.
Before we go on too long and I wake up my nurse girlfriend from her slumber, I just want to throw this out there. If Scotty Slade would like to crash the show, I would like to do a one-on-one interview with Scotty Slade on the show.
Oh God.
The showdown.
I mean, as it is, we're going to have to deal with Jason and Brian Fury, with Jason going, well, I went to that training camp one weekend. It wasn't as tough as you made it seem.
It was a completely different guy, completely different year.
No, I'll raise the challenge. If Brian Fury gets on the show and we break a ratings record, if he allows it, Piranha Man will go in to train.
Oh, shit.
Oh, God. Brian Fury, tell everybody not to listen to the podcast.
No, tell them too. I want to get that on tape.
If Brian Fury allows it, and he's a fan of us, and he's a fan of the show, and we get some good listeners, I will go to his wrestling camp as Piranha Man and have my very first match.
Oh, God. First of all, I'm frightened for your safety, and second of all, I am really sorry, Brian Fury. Just so very sorry.
Hey, we need to make some waves on this show. What better way to make waves than Piranha Man?
Eddie breaks his neck.
If you do become Piranha Man, it would only be for the sole purpose of the fact that we'd want you to actually wrestle somebody, just so you can get, like, squashed. You'd be like the Yoshitatsu of the New England area.
Here's what I want. I want a Kowloon glossy photo on a pole match. The winner gets to put their glossy 8x10 on the Kowloon wall, thus securing their immortality.
You and Gilberg.
If Gilberg wants to have the match with me, I'm down.
Let's do it. Gilberg.
You people frighten me. I have no part of this part of the bet. Oh, man.
2769418. Piranha Man is entirely fueled by bourbon and whatever piranhas eat. I'm not quite sure what that is. Brooke Shields.
Human flesh.
I will train at that camp. I will train my ass off for my big match.
Oh, God. You'd hurt yourself. Let's be honest.
I would hurt myself just making my entrance. Who are you kidding? I've already got bruised ribs from coughing too hard over the past few weeks. I'm like a brittle old man.
Oh, man. I mean, technically, you could try to take on Brian Fury. I mean, he's injured right now, so he could probably beat you with, like, one hand tied behind his back and only one ankle.
Could we have a rascal race? I mean, my girlfriend lives down the street from Stop and Shop. I can grab one of theirs. And the end game here is to not only promote the show, but to impress my new girlfriend.
Oh, God. We're just not gonna... You're never gonna shut up about her on the show, are you?
Well, I am.
And he gets some tail, and now he just boasts 24/7.
Whoa.
Vulgar, Kathryn.
You make lady boner jokes 24/7. I make one comment, and now I'm a terrible human being.
And who even says tail anymore? Like...
I'm from New Hampshire. We don't have the electricity.
Tail. Like, you sound like something out of the 50s. Let's go to the malt shop and get some tail.
Jason, essentially, she does live in Pleasantville, so...
Dude, I'm officially a journalist, and I get to cover a parade, okay? I don't exactly live in the hubbub of, like, social... ism. I don't know
Socialism? I think you misinterpret that term.
You know what I mean? My mouth doesn't work at the same time as my brain.
Well, for myself, I'm Eddie Brophy. This has been Mark's on Commentary.
I'm Jason Smith. Bully Ray and AJ wasn't as bad at Bound for Glory.
Oh, God. I'm Kathryn, unfortunately. I'm really sorry. Follow me on Twitter and go to the blog, marksonblogging.blog.com, because we keep forgetting to plug it. But you should go there because it's cool.
We forget to plug it for a reason because somebody writes on it.
I write on it sometimes.
I will too.
I just reposted my article about Mick Foley that Mick Foley really enjoys. So you should read it because Mick Foley does, and Mick Foley's cool, so you should be cool too.
I'm going to write Piranha Man's manifesto for why he needs to rise from the ashes and have his prominent first match. I'll take it to Brian Fury. I'll take it to the streets. I will wrestle Jason in a street fight.
Oh, God.
In his small quarter of a backyard.
You guys do that, and I will, sit in the back row and pretend I don't know any of you.
Any two of us. I will also have a Kowloon match. I will just drink Jason under the table while wearing a Piranha Man mask.
I'm going to invite the Shermaniacs over to have a Zumba slumber party, so.
I did invite the Shermaniacs on the show, guys. So you should harass them and tell them that they need to come on the show.
If the Shermaniacs come on the show, you do realize that I'm probably going to have a one-on-one interview with them about Boy Sweaty Towels and Piranha Man's future.
Oh, God. My life is over. Anyways, we already said goodnight, so good night. End it now before I die, please.
I just want to go a bit longer now.
I hate my life. I hate my friends. I hate my co-hosts. Oh, God.
I hate
Eddie. I hate Jason.
She hates our listeners.
No, I don't. I love our listener.
Now this show's lingering.
Yeah. Linger longer.
I hate Comcast. Comcast sucks. But thank you for holding out long enough for the podcast, Comcast.
Are we still recording?
We are.
Probably.
I haven't stopped. Why not? Filler. Nobody's listening anyways.
Or you could just post it in our outtakes on our blog like we said we were going to do months ago.
Yeah, that's more work, though. Just listen to it now.
I think Piranha Man has a bright future with Brian Fury.
Oh, God. If you annoy him and or hurt yourself, I'm taking responsibility for neither one.
But you're supposed to be my valet to the ring.
But I don't have a wrestling name.
I'll work on it. What's the opposite of a piranha? You could be goldfish. You have to say it like gold does. So, goldfish.
Well, that's not happening.
You have to come to the ring wearing fins.
Oh, no, I refuse. How about we come up with a wrestler for me that doesn't involve fins or scales, metallic things, except for, I guess sequins are okay.
Well, you'll just have to wear tinfoil.
Can I be a crazy, goth person? Because that's, 90% me.
Oh my God. Well, because you look like the chick from Blade Runner now, so I don't fit.
No, I used to look like the chick from Blade Runner. I don't have a blonde anymore.
Why would you post that picture, then?
I didn't. It was an old picture. People commented on it, so that boosted it up.
Way to fail at Facebook.
You failed at Facebook. You didn't check the post date.
That's true.
It's not our job.
Yeah, man.
We're still talking, too, on the podcast.
Man. Excellent. That's terrible.
Welcome to the private life of the Marks on Commentary.
The not-so-private life.
Yeah. Where we just talk and bitch at each other.
Yep. We don't talk to each other. We talk at each other. It's
I was gonna say that there's a funny story that just got posted on No DQ on Twitter about TNA.
What?
I guess it says a WWE employee who attended TNA's Bound for Glory said they had a great time and attendance was actually good because with Rey Mysterio out of action, WWE was afraid to run TV tapings in San Diego for fear of a small crowd. But the pay-per-view drew just 2,600 fans. It was noted by another fan that there were more WWE t-shirts in the crowd than TNA shirts, where the merchandise stand was packed, and they were selling a lot of Aces and Eights vests.
Yeah, that was the weird thing. Like, we went to Bound for Glory, and it was like Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, and Aces and Eights shirts all around us.
Oh, man. Apparently, like, so, did you see any of it at all? Like, clips or anything?
Yeah, I watched the last match.
So did you see the guy dressed in the Hulk Hogan outfit?
I didn't see this.
So there's a guy dressed in a Hulk Hogan outfit for, like, the entire time. Andy had a Hulk Hogan sign. Apparently, they confiscated his sign, and they kept bugging him and asking him to change his clothes.
What?
And said that they would give him a different shirt to wear instead. And so he's told them no, and they kept pleading with him, and then they eventually gave up because he refused to change.
Wow. That's stupid. I am surprised that he didn't show up.
Yeah, you were, like, banking on that.
Well, because they always try and, like, build, like, controversy where it's like, he's not coming. Well, he's here.
Yeah.
Good. I don't know if you saw my tweet where I was like, I tweeted him and I was like, hey, the internet wrestling community thanks you for not showing up at Bound for Glory.
Nice.
So, I don't know.
Yeah,
I hope he's done with them.
Until he shows up at a WWE show.
I don't know. You hear how he's like retweeting like every fan that's like, hey, go to WWE.
No, because they don't follow him on Twitter.
No, like I guess it's making a couple like dirt sheets like rounds. Like I don't know. I guess he just keeps doing that. So I wonder if I should like shit on him and then be like, you should go to WWE.
I think you should talk just like Larry the Cable Guy when you do it. You should go to WWE.
Get her done.
Oh God.
Yep.
All right then.
We're still recording. Just this is more of the show.
So don't talk about like your personal life or anything, Eddie, because then the whole world will know it. And by the whole world, I mean like our 5 listeners.
Don't tell us about how you got tail.
I have my girlfriend beat you up, Jason. That's what I'm gonna do.
Have you parked yet?
I find this very inappropriate, kid.
You asked her to wear your class ring. Maybe your Letterman's jacket.
Your pin.
My pin. I do have a pin. It's a Ghostbusters pin.
Are you going steady yet?
You know what, sir? You're engaged. I'll fight you. No, that'll be something to tape. I'm gonna have Nina come over and wrestle Jason for his light heavyweight championship.
I will
And then
destroy
pull a
you.
CM Punk and blow him a kiss when she runs away with it.
Oh God.
I'm leaving Jason's apartment with the light heavyweight championship.
Fuck.
I have a championship title that nobody can take away from me. I got it at the dollar store. I'll defend
I've
it with my
seen
life.
those.
I got it from my brother as a joke present. Because I got it, like, for his birthday, I always gave him a bunch of, like, really crappy presents, and then I gave him one good present to give him at the end. So I bought him, like, the dollar store, like, wrestling action figures. And then I bought him the dollar store wrestling belts. It's like, you can keep these. I'll just take it as a nice present.
If you look, they sell, like a knockoff Mexican wrestler.
Yes.
And if you look at the picture, it's like Batista's body with the World Heavyweight title with Rey Mysterio's head on it.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
You have to end it. Say who we are. Everything.
I know, I refuse.
I did that, you son of a bitch. This is Mark's commentary. I'm Eddie.
I'm Jason.
I'm Kathryn again.
Good night.
You mean you were Kathryn full time?